Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming at relatively short notice. Today, as you can see, with me is the President of BIU, Mr. Chris Ferbert. Welcome, Mr. Ferbert.
Thank you, Minister.
Today's press conference is to show the public that despite differences that may exist in a number of areas between the BIU and the Government of Bermuda, that we can continue to dialogue and collaborate. We think that's an important message to show the members of the public. Yesterday, President Ferbert, at the behest of his members, reached out to the Premier to facilitate a meeting as between members of the Cabinet and members of the Bermuda Industrial Union to hear and discuss concerns relating to the Labor Relations Amendment Act. At that meeting, there were some very fruitful, frank, yet collaborative discussions in relation to a number of concerns relating to that bill. At that meeting, a number of concerns were raised that we've taken on board in respect of a long-term outstanding issues that exist at the Department of Public Transportation and the Department of Marine and Ports. I, as Minister of Labor, have undertaken to look at those issues and address them as best we can in as short a time as possible. We have agreed that today the Labor Relations Amendment Act will not be debated. However, it will stay on the order paper with the intent to be debated at a future time. During that period of time, the BIU and the government will continue to discuss issues that relate to that bill and other issues as well. With that said, I'd like to give Mr. Ferbert an opportunity to make a few remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Well, first of all, let me say good afternoon to the members of the media. As the Minister said, yesterday we did have a meeting with himself, the Premier, and his Cabinet colleagues. And I think what the BIU said in that meeting that we made it crystal clear is that we are concerned about a number of issues. Least of all, the concern that we have going forward is to make sure that there is proper dialogue. So the BIU is pleased that the Minister has decided to carry the bill over with the understanding that we'll sit down and have the dialogue that's necessary. What we also said to the Premier, the Minister, and his Cabinet colleagues at that particular time were very concerned about these matters, and our members don't take it lightly when we have to take to the streets, give up pay and those sort of things. So those things are done mainly as a last resort. We look for continued collaboration with the government, working to try to dialogue. And as I said to the Premier yesterday, it doesn't matter whether it's the UBP government, the PLP government, or the OBA government. We reached out to the Premier of the country yesterday to try to make sure we can try to find resolution before things get out of hand. And I think that the dialogue yesterday was very fruitful, and we're looking forward to having those positive discussions going forward.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Premier, welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Premier. Thank you. Are there any questions from the media?
Karen, if I could just encourage you to just use our trusty mic. That would be very appreciated.
Just one question for Mr. Ferbert. Mr. Ferbert, I think earlier this week or last week you said that the relationship between the BIU and government was broken. Has that rift now healed to some degree?
Well, what I would say to you, sir, I think that if you look at what happened yesterday and what's happened today, anytime you have a break in a relationship, you have to sit down and have a conversation and start mending the relationship. And I think that I reached out to the Premier yesterday. We're now having dialogue, so we can now look at having dialogue and probably open back up the things that I mentioned to the media the other day. The BIU is not sitting out there in a vacuum. We understand the OBA is the government today. They're here to govern the country. So we can't sit out there. And we have members that work for the government, so we're here to work with them as best we can.
Thank you.
Actually, just one other question, if I may, to either the Minister or the President. The days missed through industrial action in recent weeks. Do you know if staff are going to be paid for those days missed, or are they not going to be?
No, I think the ministry made it clear that the 2 days that the marina ports workers was off, and the 1 day I think that the parks workers was off, they were not going to be paid for those days, and it's understood. We try to reach a happy medium to see if we can get the workers paid for at least part of the time that they were off. We were not successful, so we accept the fact they took the industrial action and they lost the pay for the time that they didn't work.